For our daily cancellation today, I have to talk about something very personal. I prefer not to air my dirty laundry in public, but in this case, the laundry must be aired. The laundry is too soiled and smelly to keep private. In fact, the laundry smells like a goat. The laundry is a goat. So let me back up for a moment. If you've listened to this show over the years, then you are aware of a certain plight that I have been dealing with in my personal life. The plight is that I have a wife and now also children who see my glorious beard and they think, perhaps understandably, that I must be the biblical Noah and that our home is therefore Noah's Ark. And so we must accumulate all of the animal species on earth and bring them into our home or onto our property. And I've tried to explain to them very nicely many times that I am not actually Noah and our home is not an ark and God has already promised not to flood the earth a second time. So we don't need to adopt every type of animal that exists on the planet. All the animals will be fine living wherever they currently live. They don't need to live with us. But this explanation has fallen on deaf ears as my wife and children have continued to lobby for dogs and cats and rabbits and chickens and turtles and birds and gerbils and ponies and pigs and three-toed sloths and whatever the hell other creatures they feel we need to become roommates with for some reason. And I have relented on some of those animals, but certainly not all. If it were not for me standing in the gap saying no, we would be one of those animal hoarder homes that you hear about on the news after the health department comes and finds the floors covered in 14 feet of animal feces and rats the size of poodles running around, and they have to drag the crazy guy out while he screams that the rats are his friends, please don't hurt them. That would literally be us, if not for me. The point is, I have a family of animal lovers, and I'm not sure how this happened. I am famously not much of an animal lover myself, and yet my wife and kids are like Disney characters running through the forest, frolicking and dancing while the woodland creatures sing to them and a squirrel plays the tambourine or whatever. And out of all the animals on earth, for some baffling reason, my wife has always had a particular fascination with goats. She has wanted a goat for many years. And I don't understand why anybody would want a goat. I don't see the appeal of goats unless they're diced into small pieces and served with a spicy curry sauce. As living animals, goats are not very appealing. They're loud, they smell, they have weird demon eyes. There's a reason Satanists worship goats. Think about it. But for years, my wife has lobbied for a goat. For years, I have said no. I held the line, I was firm. But the pressure campaign went on, unrelenting. And she continued with her goat propaganda. She kept developing and honing her pro-goat talking points. She would constantly send me videos of baby goats. She would say, "Oh, isn't this goat so cute?" And I would say, "No, the goat is a goat. That's what the goat is." She would bring goat literature into the house. She would say, "Here, look at this goat brochure. Did you know that if you have a goat, you never have to mow the lawn again? They eat all the grass." And I would say, "No, thank you. I prefer a lawnmower over a goat. Lawnmowers don't poop. They aren't living things we have to take care of. You don't have to build a pen for a lawnmower. You don't have to give it food. You don't have to take it to the vet." So I had an answer for every argument. But then this past weekend, my wife played her final card. She took it all the way. She called in a nuclear strike, and she recruited our 5-year-old daughter to come plead for the goat. Now, my wife knows that I have a lot of trouble saying no to our 5-year-old daughter. Usually, I'm very good at saying no most of the time. I say no all the time to everybody. I am an expert at saying no. I am a black belt in no. It is my greatest skill is saying no, but I'm also a dad. And she's my youngest daughter. Every dad understands this. It's our Achilles heel. It is how it is. It's why very often one of my sons will come and ask for something like a snack. And they'll say, "Dad, can I have a snack?" I'll say no. Then one of my other sons will come, "Can I have a snack?" And I'll say no. And then my 5-year-old will come and ask for a snack, and I'll say, "Sure, sweetie, would you like candy, ice cream? How about candy and an ice cream? How about $50 also? Would you like, here you go." Now, it's not fair, but that's just the way it works. Grand Canyon University, a private Christian university in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona, believes that we're endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. GCU believes in equal opportunity and that the American dream starts with purpose. GCU equips you to serve others in ways that promotes human flourishing and creates a ripple effect of transformation for generations to come. By honoring your career calling, you impact your family, your friends, and your community, change the world for good, by putting others before yourself to glorify God. Whether your pursuit involves a bachelor's, master's, or doctoral degree, GCU's online, on-campus, and hybrid learning environments are designed to help you achieve your unique academic, personal, and professional goals. With over 340 academic programs as of September 2024, GCU meets you where you are and provides a path to help you fulfill your dreams. The pursuit to serve others is yours. Let it flourish. Find your purpose at Grand Canyon University, private, Christian, affordable. Visit gcu.edu. So my daughter came to me and she said, these were her exact words. She said, "Daddy, all I've ever wanted in my whole life is a goat." Now, I know that's not true. She has wanted way more things than just a goat, but it got to me, I have to admit. So my defenses had already been weakened after years of intense pressure from the pro-goat lobby in my house. And then my wife called in her closer in the form of our 5-year-old, and all of these factors together added up to a weight that I could no longer carry. I folded, and so as you could see, here I am holding our new goat. You can see the joy radiating from my face. The goat's name, for some reason, is Waffles. It doesn't even look like a Waffles. Waffles have nothing to do with goats, except for the fact that they're both edible. But nobody looks at a goat and thinks about waffles. So the name makes no sense. And it's a moot point anyway. I will not call it Waffles. I will not call anything Waffles except for actual waffles. I will only ever call this goat Goat. The goat's name is Goat. I will not humanize the goat by addressing it by name, especially not that name. So now we have a goat. Why do we have a goat? What are we going to do with this goat? What the hell purpose does it serve? These questions have not been answered. Maybe we'll become full-time goat farmers. That appears to be my wife's great ambition in life. We have now had this goat for 2 days. The goat has not made itself useful at all. At all. It mostly just walks around and pees and poops. That's all it does. And it screams. Now, I thought that goats screaming was like an internet meme. No, they actually do scream. Like it's a weird. It sounds human. It's like a weird primal, almost humanoid scream. Last night, I'm sitting on my porch, trying to smoke a cigar, read a book. I kept hearing this damn loudmouth goat screaming in the darkness, very loud. And they technically call it bleating, but that's not a bleat. I've heard bleats. A bleat is much quieter, much more mellow, more dignified. This is a shriek. This is a screech, a yell. As if there wasn't already enough noise in our house with 6 kids, now I have a goat yelling at me too. And it's rude. It's a very rude sound. It's very presumptuous. This goat is it's a jerk. I can tell it's a jerk. Now, when I talked to my wife about the noise pollution problem, she said that we need to be patient with Waffles. It's not Waffles' fault that he's making noise. I said, stop calling him Waffles, just call him Goat. Secondly, he's too loud. And then she said that, well, the goat is calling for other goats. So the best way to solve the problem is to get a second goat. And that way the goat will have a little goat friend. Goats are herd animals, she said. And I said, yes, they obviously are herd animals. I've heard him a lot since he got here. He doesn't shut up. And so anyway, now we're getting a second goat. I bought the argument about how there will be less goat noise if we have more goats. I know that can't possibly be true, but I bought it. And you know what's even worse? This is what's even worse. She sort of made me feel sorry for the goat. She said the goat is lonely and calling for a friend, and I felt inside my dark, cavernous soul a brief flicker of actual empathy for this damn stupid, ugly goat. I was actually mildly and momentarily concerned about the goat's mental health. See, this is my problem. My wife knows something about me that nobody else on earth knows because it's a very closely guarded secret, which is that I do have emotions, sort of. And she made me feel like emotions about this freaking goat. So we went from 0 goats to 2 in the span of 2 days. The exponential growth rate of the goat population on our property is very troubling. I've done the math. At this rate, we'll have 900 goats by the end of June. A process has started, and now there is no stopping it. The virus is spreading. It's like a zombie apocalypse, but with goats. I tried to stop it, but here we are. In 3 years, I will have dropped out of podcasting, and you'll find me sitting in a field with a staff wearing a robe and sandals, watching over my flock of goats and sheep. I will be the first person in history to parlay a lucrative media job into a career as a medieval shepherd. And that is why it's come to this. I'm sorry to say that my wife, who I love dearly, but who is also a shameless goat propagandist, is today canceled. Thanks for checking out this video. If you'd like to listen to my full podcast on the go, you can check out The Matt Walsh Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.